Coming up on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we hit the beach for a game of foot volley. Still going strong at 39, we meet Grêmio's former Bayern Munich midfielder Ze Roberto. And we sample a traditional way of life in the southern Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul. But we begin in London, a recent stop on the third edition of the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour. A 267-day journey, the tour began in the shadow of Rio's Christ the Redeemer in September 2013.
In 2006, FIFA and Coca-Cola sat together and we decided that we want to take the FIFA World Cup Trophy to all FIFA member associations around the world. So we have 209 member associations. Until 2022, we want to visit all 209 of them. This time we go to 51 new countries, and we're very pleased with that.
Touching and lifting the 6-kilogram trophy is reserved for any heads of state and former winners who will come across it on this 9-month trip to 90 countries on 6 continents. It's estimated that by the time the tour reaches its conclusion, 800,000 people will have had their picture taken beside the trophy.
It's the main reason why we do the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour, because the reaction of people when they come up close with the trophy that will be lifted at the tournament in a few months' time is magical. So generally people are thrilled to have their photo taken.
Football's most coveted prize will travel 150,000 kilometres. That's the equivalent of more than 3 times round the globe, making this its longest journey yet. But the memories it creates are very special indeed.
Yeah, it was nice, special moment, something that obviously we're going to see someone lift this year, so it would be nice if it was England, but no, that's not going to happen. But
From London, the trophy would head to other European destinations before a 3-country swing of Asia and stopovers in the United States. Then it's back to Brazil to visit all 27 states, where it's sure to be a huge draw.
Yeah, I think it's good that it goes around for everyone to see. You know, it's one of those things, it is all about the people getting involved, isn't it? So it's nice that everyone can see it, otherwise it's just this thing you see on television. So yeah, I love it, I think it's really good. A bit smaller than I thought though. I was expecting, you know, I had this image of it being enormous, so slightly disappointed that it's only about that big.
He might be disappointed, but that emotion won't be shared by the captain of the winning team on July 13th. "17 of Brazil's 27 states are blessed with beaches that border the Atlantic Ocean. The Golden Sands are a haven for people of all ages. It's a place to relax, socialise and, of course, exercise. And one way to do that is to play foot volley.
It all began in the 1960s, when some people in Rio couldn't play football on the fine sand because the beach was so busy. Instead, they started to play football on the volleyball courts, and that was how foot volley came about.
From the sands of Flamengo, Ipanema and Copacabana, foot volley soon spread across the country to coastal resorts like Recife. Such was the sport's popularity, though, it soon caught on in landlocked states as well, and cities like Brasilia have produced some of the game's greatest exponents.
The rules are similar to volleyball. Each side can touch the ball 3 times, but the players are not allowed to use their hands or arms. You can use your head, shoulders, thighs, feet and chest. There are many ways to get the ball back over the net, but you mustn't use your hands.
The pitch measures 18 metres by 9, the same size as a volleyball court, and games are played over 3 sets, with the first team to 18 points declared the winner of each set.
I really like this sport. I always have done. I began playing it back in the 1980s. I enjoyed playing football, but sometimes when I came down to the beach, football was prohibited. So I started playing foot volley. Now my football days are behind me because of foot volley. It's a sport that requires good body conditioning and it's great fun. Once you start, you don't want to give it up.
Foot volley's popularity has long since grown beyond Brazil's borders, with the sport now played by men and women in Europe, Asia and across the Americas. Many famous names have had a go, and there was a World Championship held in 2011, with Paraguay the surprise winners.
There are many examples of leading footballers enjoying this game. Some are obsessed with foot volley. I can mention Romario, Edinho, Claudio Adal, all of whom have played in tournaments here. Who else? Jalminha and Edmundo are also supposed to like it. Renato Gaucho too. That happens more in Rio. Here, there are only a few players who like it, but some do play regularly. Some current players will have a game during their holidays.
On most beaches up and down the country, it's the local authority that supplies the nets. Those wishing to play, therefore, need only to bring a ball and hope that a court is free.
Most people come down to the beach simply to sunbathe. Those who like volleyball, though, they play volleyball. Those who like foot volley, play foot volley. Foot volley is a sport that only needs a net and some markings. Sometimes you can get by without the proper markings if you just make a line in the sand with your feet. If you have the net and the two poles to hold the net up, then you're good to go.
With 5 host cities situated on Brazil's Atlantic coast, fans will have plenty of opportunities to give foot volley a go. Five of the 64 matches at the 2014 FIFA World Cup will be staged here in Porto Alegre, the capital of Rio Grande do Sul. Brazil's southernmost state is renowned for its unique culture within Brazil, and the locals are commonly referred to as Gauchos, after the cowboys who once roamed the Pampas region, encompassing parts of Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay.
Here, in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, we often say that we live in a different country. Whilst this is just a joke, it is true to say that Gauchos are attached to their traditions. A Gaucho is insular. He will always defend his ideas, his city, and his state with all his might.
Whilst many of the state's 1.5 million inhabitants may live very different lives to those enjoyed by their Gaucho ancestors, there is a widespread movement to maintain and preserve the traditions of the past for the enjoyment of locals and tourists alike. One important element of the Gaucho lifestyle is horsemanship, and rodeos and country fairs are held regularly across Rio Grande do Sul to showcase the competitors' equestrian skills.
This event, this rural event, is a rodeo. And a rodeo has a very special meaning for us and for our traditions, because it showcases exactly what happens on the farms. It highlights the treatment of cattle, the way the livestock is managed. These are real jobs, rural jobs. What you see here is the act of traditional gauchos transforming these rural tasks into a form of celebration. The world is changing very quickly today, and our goal is to make sure that the traditions my grandfather was taught, traditions passed down to him by my great-grandfather, continue to be handed down through the generations by us. We want these traditions to be maintained, and for this education to continue.
Gaucho traditions are still alive and well in more urban areas too, thanks largely to a network of CTGs, centres where like-minded people can come together to celebrate the local heritage.
CTG 35 is a pioneering body. We were the first CTG anywhere in the world, founded on the 24th of April 1948 by young students who moved from the countryside of Rio Grande do Sul to the state capital, Porto Alegre, in order to study. When they arrived, they soon began to miss the rural traditions, like drinking chimarrão, cooking on a barbecue, dancing and reading poetry, so they got together and founded CTG 35.
There are many such centres across the state, so if any football fans visiting during the FIFA World Cup are keen to sample the traditions and history of this colourful region, they'd be advised to head straight for the nearest CTG.
We are working with the Tourism Secretary of Porto Alegre, and we plan to run workshops that will show off our culture to the tourists. We'll have ballroom dancing workshops, demonstrations of traditional dance, and chimarrão workshops. Everything will be ready for when the World Cup visitors arrive, and we'll put on a wide-ranging presentation. It will give us great satisfaction to show off the traditions we have preserved.
Many Brazilian players have entertained us down the years, but who's your favourite? Here to tell us his is Benoit Assou-Ekotto.
Ronaldinho. I saw him play at PSG, at Paris Saint-Germain, where he started his career in Europe, and then at Barcelona. He's very gifted technically and very intelligent. As well as being able to do the most complicated things, he can also play it simple. I love the way he can switch between the two.
Back in February, more than 3 months before the big kick-off, the state of Florianópolis and its main resort, Costão do Santinho, in the south of Brazil, hosted a 3-day team workshop for representatives of the 32 nations that will contest the 20th FIFA World Cup.
It was an extremely productive week. We were able to tell the 32 teams and their technical and administrative staff how they will discover that this country is fully committed to giving them a great reception during their time here. I think this was the key message that we were able to get across.
Curitiba will remain as one of the 12 host cities.
An important meeting and subsequent press conference reconfirmed Curitiba as one of the 12 host cities. That was good news for the local organising committee and for one of the teams that will begin their campaign there.
We Iranians simply can't wait to see Curitiba. All of our people love the Brazilians, and the fact that our opening game at the World Cup will go ahead in Curitiba is of great importance to us. We're extremely pleased with FIFA's decision to keep Curitiba as one of the 12 host cities. I wish to congratulate all of the people of Curitiba for managing to maintain their host city status, which is thanks largely to FIFA and the government of Brazil, who listened closely to the desire of the city's population.
The 32 delegations included technical and administrative staff, the latter on hand to review organisational and logistical matters. And with Curitiba reconfirmed for the tournament, the Spanish could also rest easy, having already chosen to base themselves in the city, where they're due to play Australia.
I think this is a necessary gathering when you consider all the logistics involved in making sure a World Cup runs as smoothly as possible. We must have meetings like this to ensure everything goes well. This exchange of opinions is an opportunity for people to express themselves, to suggest new ideas, so things work even better.
7 of the 32 finalists were in Brazil for the FIFA Confederations Cup in 2013 and have first-hand experience of what lies in store. Lessons learned from that tournament will be implemented later this year, as will those that the local organising committee gleans from the test events they'll hold.
I will have to implement safety tests, transport tests, run through how the spectators will arrive at the stadiums, how they will be received once they get there, how all the media will be welcomed at the venues. And one of our biggest challenges will be to get these test events right. And for me, the biggest challenge of all is to finalize things in terms of technology. Matters such as the internet, the TV side of things, so that we can have a World Cup that is very well covered across the globe.
The team workshop was the last major event to be held in Brazil before the FIFA Congress in Sao Paulo on the eve of the finals themselves. Next up for the coaches is to name their squads. As for FIFA and the LOC, they'll be putting the finishing touches to their preparations for what they hope will be a memorable tournament.
We are working with the federal government and the Ministry of Tourism to ensure a first-class service at the airports, at the hotels and on public transport, so that people will say, I want to come back here, because it's a country that looks after its visitors. I invite you all to come because you will be treated very well here, and you will witness an event without equal. The World Cup is unique. Let's all watch a World Cup in a country of football.
Salvador's Liberdade neighborhood is home to the largest Afro-Brazilian community. It was here in 1974 that the music group Ilê Aiyê was founded in a bid to raise awareness of the plight of the city's black majority. One of the men behind the movement takes up the story.
We, the militants of the black movement, have always been conscious of the racial issue. We were heavily influenced by the American movement, the Black Panthers, so much so that initially I wanted the bloc to be named Black Power. But we used to go to meetings and there were always about 1,000 people present, and you could see that there were more whites than blacks there. But that was later because Ilê Aiyê was on the scene before the black movement. The unified black movement, that is, and through our music we began to streamline our opinions. Through our music we began saying that black is beautiful, refuting everything negative like Negroes stink, with Negroes smell nice. Black women's hair is wonderful. We started to wear colourful clothes that we hadn't worn before because people said that Negroes wearing red looked like the devil. So Ilê defined its colours, the red, black, yellow and white. We explained why, because white represents peace, yellow represents gold, power, protection, red is the blood, shed from the black people, and black is the black race. The group now works as if it were the local council. I'm practically the mayor of Liberdade. Any problems and people think that I will sort it out. There are people in jail whose issues we need to solve. If someone dies, we need to help with the funeral. If someone needs to go to rehab, we help. So yes, when you reach a certain status and prestige, you're able to help with certain things. But it's not really our role to find hospital beds, help with rehab, and so on. It's gratifying to know that aside from forming music professionals, we also form decent citizens, good men, family men, people in the fields of music and singing, IT and the sciences. And our songs, although some radio experts here think otherwise, they're beautiful songs that convey a message that is very strong. They make a contribution to the changes in Brazil, but they're also commercial songs that sell records and DVDs. So over these 40 years we've been very happy with our contribution, with the awareness we raised with our record Negritude, both in Bahia and across Brazil.
40 years on from the group's formation, Salvador will host 6 matches at the FIFA World Cup, offering the many visitors to the city an opportunity to witness Ilê Aiyê firsthand. At the age of 39, most footballers have long since retired. Some will have moved into coaching, others into the media, and many are simply happy to relax and enjoy the trappings of their success. But not this man.
My motivation is the passion I have for playing football. For as long as I can remember, ever since I was a child, my dream was to play football. And even I get surprised by the fact that I'm still playing at a high level, age 39. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I thank God for the gift He has given me, and of course, for my genes.
Ze Roberto will turn 40 during the FIFA World Cup, a tournament that first awakened his passion for a game that would become his career.
When I was a kid, I used to watch the World Cup on television, and when the games were over, I would run into the street screaming that I was Romario. My friend would say that he was Tafarel, another would claim to be Junior, and someone else would pretend to be Socrates. So when the child becomes a man, when he grows up, his wish is to become a football player, because he's watched his idols on television. This was my train of thought, and it's a similar story for the majority of kids in Brazil.
Ze Roberto's career began at Portuguesa. Brief spells at Real Madrid and Flamengo followed before a move to Germany, where he would spend 8 successful seasons with Bayern Munich, and initially Bayer Leverkusen, with whom he reached a UEFA Champions League final in 2002.
It's a club at which I was fortunate to play with some great players, like Mikael Ballack, Jens Novotny, Lucio, Bernd Schneider. Our team had great players, players who weren't selfish at all. We played as a team, and I think that was the main reason why we were able to reach that Champions League final and write our names into the club's history.
Ze Roberto did get his hands on some silverware during 2 spells with Bayern Munich, securing the domestic league and cup double on no fewer than 4 occasions.
I've played for many clubs, but from my point of view, Bayern Munich was the biggest. It was there that I gained more visibility on the international stage, as it's such a successful club. They have won a record number of Bundesliga titles, and it's a club that very often reaches the Champions League final.
His success with Bayern earned him regular call-ups to the national team, for whom he made his debut in 1995. He made a substitute appearance at the FIFA World Cup in France 3 years later, but surprisingly missed out on the squad that would win the trophy in 2002.
Unfortunately, I was left out at the last minute, but I still supported them a lot. Every game that they played, from the first match to the final, I imagined myself being there. Unfortunately, I was on the outside looking in, but that only gave me more motivation to work hard, to work towards my dream of playing in a World Cup.
In 2006, he did just that, featuring in all of Brazil's matches. He was named man of the match against Australia in the group stage and again against Ghana in the round of 16, when he also found the net late in the second half. His performances earned him a place in the team of the tournament, but the big prize eluded him.
I would swap that for a winner's medal, most certainly. Unfortunately, I didn't lift the trophy, but I left the tournament with my head held high, and I was happy that I'd done a great job. I did my best. At that point in time, I knew that my turn was over, having played for the Brazilian national team for many years.
8 years, 3 clubs and many games later, Ze Roberto is back in Brazil with Grêmio and will be one of several million interested spectators in his homeland when the 20th FIFA World Cup gets underway in June.
Brazil have been world champions on 5 occasions, and we have a huge chance to win a 6th World Cup, especially as we'll have the advantage of playing the tournament on home soil. It's obvious that you cannot disregard Germany, you cannot discount Argentina, and you certainly can't ignore Spain. So I think that those 3 or 4 teams, along with Brazil, are the favourites to win this World Cup.
When the FIFA World Cup has been hoisted to the heavens, the Brazilian Championship will resume. Grêmio's number 10 will again be pulling the strings, but not for too much longer, it seems.
My goal is to have a great season, just as I did last year. So hopefully, when I turn 40, I'll be ending my career on a high, ready to concentrate on other things, to have more time for my family, to look for something different to do, outside of football.
It's been quite a career, but all good things must come to an end. Next time on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we spend a day on the sands of Copacabana. We're in Brazil's northeast to examine football's resurgence in the state of Pernambuco. And we meet the latest Brazilian artist to perform the nation's most celebrated football song. Until then, goodbye.